Levitation. Stories of people somehow having the ability to float in midair, whether by choice or not, have persisted and baffled for hundreds of years. Some believed it meant the levitator had magical powers. Others thought it was a sign of demonic possession. And a few even believed it was an indicator of holy deliverance. But, of course, in the end, all of these stories were just that. Stories. Right? Well, not according to a woman in Georgia who somehow captured this. In 2015, in Atlanta, Georgia, a local parapsychologist is helping a woman who consistently wakes up with mysterious bruises all over her body. In order to determine what exactly is happening to her at night, the woman installs night vision cameras to film herself while she sleeps. And on one night, the camera captures what may just be the source of her bruising. Watch closely. As she somehow levitates 3 to 4 feet in the air for several seconds while still asleep. Then, her body is gently lowered back to the bed, where she continues to sleep as if nothing happened at all. What did we just see?
This is shocking footage.
I've never seen something so significant like this, where a woman has been just levitated off the bed in front of our eyes.
This is something right out of a movie. This is something that even as I'm watching it, I'm not believing what I'm seeing.
This is superhuman strength. So whatever is levitating her has immense power. And I think that's what's frightening, because if it can lift her off the bed that easily, what other things can it do physically to you?
Could it really be that some kind of entity or external force is responsible for the woman's levitation?
Perhaps if spirit is causing this woman to levitate, not only are they communicating with her in her dreams, in her mind, that communication, that interaction is causing them to lift her from her bed.
Now, it may be the position, laying down, maybe something necessary for this to take place. Maybe it's that we're more vulnerable while we're sleeping, or maybe easier lifted up by whatever force it is that's actually lifting us.
It's such a unique situation that perhaps there's something about her that makes her a focal point.
Or could she somehow be doing it to herself?
In parapsychology, there's the thought that much of the things that we witness are coming from our own minds, our own abilities. So perhaps the fact that she's asleep, her unconscious mind is tapping into an ability that allows her to levitate herself.
Levitation has been reported in these instances of deep sleep states during astral projection, where their soul's separation from their human body can be so incredibly tethered to the point that when the soul is exiting, the physical being can actually lift up as well.
Whatever is happening, it isn't the first time this sort of thing has been documented.
Physics prove that it's impossible to levitate, but we have had historical records of people doing this for hundreds of years without any tricks, ropes, or pulleys.
Whether or not the levitation was the cause of the woman's bruises remains unclear. But one thing's for certain. It is not something to be taken lightly.
We keep the beard? Or do we go for do we have a shave like on here? Do we go for full Bronson tash? Or I don't know, you have to let me know.
Did you catch it? Watch again as the doll behind Stephen turns and then falls against the bedpost completely by itself.
A shave like on here? Do we go for full Bronson tash?
I love this clip because it's so mundane. It's just a guy that's feeling age encroaching on him. But then, in the background, something incredible happens.
What we're seeing is an accidental capture, which is my favorite, because you know that it's not manipulated, you know that it's not movie magic, nobody's trying to make it happen, it just happens.
This seems to turn and then fall, as if something were trying to grab it or touch it and maybe lost control, and then gravity took over.
It doesn't feel like emotion that would just happen randomly. It feels a little bit intentional, and that's what makes this a little bit creepy.
What makes this even creepier is that Stephen is not entirely sure how the doll, which was found in an attic and given to his young daughter by her grandmother, ended up in his room in the first place.
After looking back at the tape, I just assumed my daughter had come into the bedroom in the morning or something, left it there, but according to her, she never put it in there.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I don't know why people would even bring these found dolls into their home. I mean, dolls are creepy to begin with, and you don't know the history of it.
If we're talking about an object that was moving around the house on its own or manipulated by an entity, that would require an immense amount of energy. The fact that it's a doll? No, thank you.
And this isn't the first time inexplicable things have happened in Stephen's home.
We've had lots of things happen in this house of, if you want to call it, a paranormal nature. There was a period of time for a couple of years where we carried on hearing running upstairs, like footsteps. My oldest daughter said a little boy carried on opening her bedroom door in the middle of the night. I definitely saw a small child run past in the kitchen. And this got worse and worse.
So Stephen does some research on the history of the house.
Dug through the records and found that there was actually a house fire in 1973. And in that, unfortunately, a small boy died. And I believe it was about 7 or 8. So there was all these different little clues that kind of led you on to realise actually, you know, what's probably happening is actually, unfortunately, probably a spirit of a small child in the house.
What often happens with deaths like this that are accidental, that spirit or soul, that energy is left in that location. So this could just be a simple friendly ghost.
I want to believe that this is just the residual spirit of a boy trying to play with his doll, but I also know that nefarious spirit uses symbols like youth and children to manipulate you and to make you feel comfortable. And when spirit chooses to manipulate something that is so innocent, like a children's toy, to me, that reads nothing but trouble.
Whether it's the ghost of a young boy, a possessed doll, or something else entirely, Stephen's come to terms with it residing in his home, at least for now.
If it was just me experiencing it, I'd be taking a little trip to the doctors, I think, but everyone in the house has experienced stuff and still does experience stuff. And it's a reminder that whatever was there the whole time. And it's, as far as I know, it's still there.